Welcome to Pathways of Purpose podcast, where we dive into journeys and challenges and insights that shape future leaders and entrepreneurs. I am Brydrick, and this is my guest, Coach Ransom.
How you doing?
This podcast is produced and recorded by Modoc Media. Let's get started. What inspired you to become a Vega coach?
I wasn't inspired to be a La Vega coach. I was inspired to be a coach. So it was kind of a funny story because all through high school, I kind of told my classmates and teammates that I would never be a coach. So it wasn't until I graduated college, and I needed to start taking care of myself, that I asked myself, what am I good at? And I realized I kind of been around education and sports all my life. So I felt like that's the path that I needed to take at that moment, and I've been here ever since.
How do you balance relationships and academics?
So how do I balance academics and athletics? All right. So really, for you to be successful at both, you definitely have to have a structured routine. I think time management is one of the biggest things, but also just being disciplined with both. If you don't have the discipline to, sit down and manage your time to get your academics, your schoolwork done, then the chances of you kind of being successful with both is slim. You're going to kind of always be motivated to, get up and practice the game, whatever sports you play. But sometimes finding time and sitting down doing academics is what's going to be the hard part. But they definitely go hand in hand. But I think how you manage time, what routines you create, and then actually what goals you have set as far as your academic goals and your athletic goals. So all that kind of ties in for someone who's trying to manage those things.
What skills do you think make you perfect fit?
For skills for
Perfect role as a coach.
I think just my knowledge of the game. I had to kind of overcome a lot of things. So my knowledge of the game, communication, being approachable, being able to relate to the kids, all those things are very important. But also just somewhat of a motivator. You have to be able to motivate and develop kids. And right now at this day and time, I think those are the two biggest things that a coach has to have. He has to be able to motivate the kids, and you have to be able to develop them. And once you develop them, man, they'll do anything for you.
What's your favorite memory of coaching Elevate?
I probably would have to go with maybe winning state. It's more of the feeling that I felt when we was in Cowboy Stadium. It was just a feeling of just overjoy, excitement, and it lasted, the whole Christmas break, so I would definitely probably say winning state in 2018, that feeling, that moment, kids accomplishing, the ultimate goal that they set out, for the goals that they set through the off season and the summer and to accomplish them at the end of the year. So that moment there in 2018 was definitely my biggest, most memorable moment.
What's your biggest pet peeve, especially when it comes to coaching?
Maybe just, unmotivated kids, maybe some without a direction. But me as a coach, that's kind of my job, but at the same time, I don't really think I have too much of a pet peeve because as a coach, you also have to kind of be a problem solver. You have to be a motivator. So there are a lot of things that's annoying, but I think you learn to problem solve a lot as a coach as well.
How would you describe your coaching style?
I would say maybe a democratic. I definitely listen to my athletes, they're what they have to say, and I kind of take input kind of along with my ideas and kind of combine them, so I would think my approach is definitely athlete-centered, so maybe a democratic approach. But I'm always going to be a hard-nosed, demanding coach as well. So I kind of know what the game and what it takes to be successful, and being demanding and disciplined, but also being able to motivate kids is probably it for me, my style.
How do you handle a challenging situation with parents?
It kind of depends on the situation. Every parent has a right to defend their child or, support their child. So it just kind of depends on the situation. But I think as a professional, as an educator, if I am in a situation with a challenging parent, I think you just have to listen. You have to show empathy, and you just got to compromise and work with the parent. Because a lot of times, they are defending their child, and like I say, they have every right to do that. But it just depends on the situation. Are you defending him even though he's in the wrong? Or are you trying to get, the information or get the facts to the situation and then, be a parent from there. So it just depends on the situation.
How do you keep your athletes motivated during their rough time?
Well, a lot of times, the athlete needs to be motivated by themselves, first of all, and I just think a lot of athlete motivation comes from, their personal goals, and then as a coach, um, I like to kind of apply real life situations, like make real life connections. That's kind of like a classroom approach I take to, motivate kids on their assignments. And I kind of apply that same situation to motivate kids. The same way you motivate them to overcome things on the field, you kind of take that same motivation, and there's going to be adversity and things in life that you and everyone around us going to have to overcome. So, just being able to, we're talking about motivate, right? Yeah, so you just have to motivate them, know their goals, keep them on the straight and narrow.
Did you enjoy school growing up?
I would say maybe through the elementary, middle school years. Probably by the time I hit high school, I was definitely wore out and ready to be done with high school. So maybe through the elementary, middle school years. So after that, yeah, I was ready to get out of high school.
How was your childhood like?
Um,
How did it shape who you are today?
my childhood has a lot to do with who am today. I had to overcome a lot of things, a lot of adversity, a lot of struggles that, people and families go through. So through it all, I always had my life goals in mind, my goals in mind. And I think a lot of times that's what got me through, in the back of my head, even at times when I was being a kid or even a time when, I was being a follower. I always had my goals in mind. And I think, that's what kind of got me through it. There was times where kids were making bad decisions, and like I said, I always had my goals in mind, and I knew if I messed up or got in trouble, the chances of me accomplishing my goal was very slim.
Do you have any family?
Yes, I have
Kids?
family. My family, I'm kind of a private person when it comes to my family, but for the most part, I'm heavily motivated by my family. Every day, my kids, my woman, I think I get up and do all this for them, to set an example, especially for my kids and for my household. So my family is my everything, and I don't know what I would be without them.
How has fatherhood changed and influenced you?
Fatherhood, man, it changed me in a lot of ways, especially, I taught child development, and I like to hear kids' thoughts on it. And, some of their responses are funny. One of the things they always say is stress. They don't want to be stressed out. But I think when you finally have kids, I think you begin to put away childish things. I think you begin to prioritize, and then you just start to hold yourself to a standard, that you must maintain throughout the rest of adulthood.
It's a funny question right here. What's your favorite holiday and how you like to celebrate it?
My favorite holiday, so I think I realized this some years ago. So my favorite holiday is Independence Day. It's in the summertime, barbecue, water fights, fireworks. It's just one of the times I always found myself celebrating. So I definitely like Independence Day and the
You had
4th of July.
If you had to eat a meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
If I had to eat a meal, I definitely would probably go with some spaghettis with some good garlic bread and a good side vegetable like green beans or corn. So yeah, definitely pasta.
If you were an ice cream flavor, what would it be?
Uh, sound little, little weird, don't it? But if I had to be an ice cream, I guess I would say butter pecan, and I can't give you reasons
Why
why.
is that? Why is that?
I don't know. I don't really want to share that on camera, but butter pecan ice cream.
That's a wrap for today's podcast. I would like to give a special thanks to Modoc Media. That's it. All right, bet. We go.
Got it?
That's it. You got to edit it.
Boy, you nervous? Forgot the question. You made me mess up.
Yeah.
Nah, you did it good. We good?
Yeah, I figured.